stories making waves across the country. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to immediately resume the continuous voter registration until 90 days before the 2023 general election. In the judgment, Justice Inyang Ekwo also directed INEC to ensure that eligible Nigerians are not denied the opportunity to have their voter cards for their coming elections. Justice Ekwo held that it is the constitutional responsibility of INEC to make adequate provisions for the exercise in accordance with the laws. One, Anajat Salmat, and 3 others had sued INEC as sole defendants in a suit, with the judge declaring that the case of the plaintiffs succeeds on merits. As the race to the 2023 presidential election gets hotter, the presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has met with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, at the headquarters in Abuja. At the end of that meeting, which took place at the National Ecumenical Center, Abuja, Atiku described it as rewarding for both parties as his plans to recover Nigeria, especially on restructuring, aligned with the demands of the apex Christian body. The PDP presidential candidate said they all agreed that there is the need to restructure Nigeria and make it more inclusive and secure, with greater opportunities for citizens to thrive, irrespective of tribe or religion. Now let's take a short break, and when we come back, it will be time to speak with the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and immediate past Senate Minority Leader, Abaribe. Don't go away. Welcome back to Politics Tonight. We are still with Senator Abaribe. All right, distinguished, I was asking, how well have you represented your people in the last 16 years, given that your rival, Governor Ikpeazu, blames you for lack of federal presence in that state?
Let me say this. Sometimes our executives make statements that on the face looks like they're making sense, but on real issues, looking at it, it's totally nonsensical. So a governor says that a legislator will bring federal presence. What does he think I've been doing all along? All the budgets that we put money in the budget to come to this place, is that not what it's supposed to be? Actually, it is the governor himself who has totally abandoned his duties as a governor. And you know the silly part of it, he follows Governor Wike to go and commission projects for which Wike gets federal money in return for doing a federal project. And so why doesn't he do his own and get federal government to refund him the money that was spent? Doesn't Wike have federal legislators? And so it's easy to go around and make this type of statements. I have been representing the people of Abia South, and everything that has come to Abia South has come through me. And so, if you want to check, you go to the polls. And that's why we have been, every time we will challenge the governor, don't run away. Let's go and meet at the polls and let the people of Abia South take the decision whether I have been representing them or whether I have brought federal presence to this place. And besides that, we ask a simple question. What is federal presence? That's the question you ask. Part of the reason why I stand up on the Senate and talk about the despicable treatment of the people of the Southeast is because there is a deliberate policy from the federal government not to do anything here. And we expected that somebody who has executive authority will back our cries at the federal legislature. But people stay here and continue to play good boy and think that by pandering to the wishes of those inside Aso Villa, things will be good for our people. Of course, it won't. You can only get something there by insisting on your right, being Nigerians. We are all Nigerians, and we should be treated equally. And so anybody who says we haven't done anything, let them show the evidence. The evidence is there.
All right,
We have a
Senator.
road that goes from Aba to Port Harcourt. Nobody has driven it so many days, and even trailers were parked on the road the other day, and they said they won't go anywhere because nobody's doing anything about it. Who ought to do it? We put it in the budget, we funded it, and the ministry all went ahead to award contracts on it. So what else will I do? The job of a chief executive of a state is, once his people have done the nitty-gritty, he now steps in as chief executive. You don't sit around in Mwaya and all that and be walking around from one place to the other, calling yourself integrity, whatever, and then expect that something will be done. It won't be.
All right, Senator, let me quickly...
The people of Abia South will take...
Okay, please make your final points. Please go ahead.
Yes, please.
Now, let me quickly take you up on Peter Obi of the Labour Party, who is making great impact in the run-up to the 2023 presidential election. How will you rate his chances? Do you see him and his party as capable of causing an upset in this coming election?
Well, what I can tell you about Peter Obi is this. He has changed the dynamics of politics, whether advertently or inadvertently. He has now turned around to be a symbol for what people don't all want in the country called Nigeria. And so I doff my hat for him and wish him well, because he has also done one singular thing for the Southeast, which is to be that we are on the table. Whether he wins or not, what is important is that you're seen at the table. And so, for him and for our own Peter, don't forget that APGA has a Peter too, that is running for the president of Nigeria. We want to wish them well and ask them to go out there and make a change, not the APC change that took us from top to bottom, but the real change that will make our lives better.
All right, let me also have you react to the disagreement between Peter Obi and Governor Soludo and Ohanese's angry reaction to the governor's outburst.
I think that that matter had been roundly treated by Peter himself. He said, Soludo remains his governor, and that government is a continuum. Whatever he hasn't done, the present governor, Soludo.
What's your position regarding his recent legal victories in his battle with the federal government?
I think we issued a statement recently. Once the appeal court confirmed the decision of the lower court to free him. And we said that government has a chance to play the role of reconciliation of everybody. And part of it is to make sure that you also, a government that also says that they want to obey court orders, now want to go back and say, let us go to Supreme Court and so forth. Well, that is their right if they want to do that. But we, as the Southeast Caucus of the National Assembly, issued a statement imploring the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the government, federal government of Nigeria, that having made a commitment that they will go by what the court says. And the court made a judgment and a pronouncement that it should be released. For the federal government to come back again and now talking about discharge not acquitted, acquitted not discharged, and all that type of thing, we think is simply continuing to exacerbate the tensions that are everywhere. Because, as I tell you today, part of the problems we have in the Southeast is also the Nnamdi Kanu matter. Because some miscreants, some people, some purveyors of violence have used it as a reason to continue to perpetrate violence in the zone. And he will be key to any resolution of this unending violence in the area.
All right. Do you also share the same sentiments with some persons or analysts who have said that Nnamdi Kanu's detention is the cause of insecurity in the Southeast?
I do not think that his detention is the sole cause of insecurity. Like I said, all manners of purveyors of violence and all manners of criminals and all that have used it as a reason to continue to foment insecurity in the area. Excuse me.
All right. All right, let's talk about the presidential election now. What impact should we expect from your party, APGA? And what do you think will influence next year's pattern of
how we fought on the floor of the Senate to ensure electronic transmission of voting, which came to pass. And what that will do is that as your voting and the results are being announced in each polling unit, the results are going seamlessly, and anybody in the world can get that result and even do his own calculation. So what will happen is that first, all the bloated figures that we used to see will no longer be there, because the law insists today that you calculate everything on the basis of accredited voters on election day. The courts that used to accept all manners of things that were because it was based on number of registered voters are now restricted to doing every calculation on the basis of accredited voters. So we will no longer see those humongous figures coming from areas where you know that there were no people there. So what that now means for each and every one of us is that as results are now going to count, parties like APGA and the other parties will now be very sure that whatever showing that they make is actually what their people will get. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I said it.